Hey guys, and welcome to Film Artsy, your #1 source for all things films and movies. My name is Elijah, and while we absolutely loved Spider-Man Far From Home, thinking it's one of the greatest movies in the Spider-Man franchise, and even a really good movie when you compare it against a lot of movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, no movie really goes without having faults or some sort of errors or little mistakes along the way. And in our opinion here at Film Artsy, we actually really like to see the little mistakes and odds and ends that are in movies because it kind of adds to the movie making experience. And it's just kind of a behind the scenes look that we really appreciate getting to see. So today we are taking a look at the mistakes and errors in Spider-Man Far From Home. Let's go ahead and jump into it.
Agent Romanoff, you miss me?
Oh yeah, Charles, we got ourselves an X-Men fan.
Captain.
Your Highness.
Captain, big fan, Spider-Man. Hey everyone.
First up, one of the big errors from Spider-Man Far From Home potentially could be coming out of the major plot element as to what Peter's age is. And this wouldn't be the first time Sony's messed up with kind of dating how a lot of the things work in the Spider-Man movies, as you guys remember the whole Spider-Man Homecoming years later debacle. But when we are looking at Spider-Man Far From Home, we know that this movie takes place approximately 8 months after the events of Avengers Endgame. And when we look back at where Peter was way back when he first appeared in Captain America Civil War, he was said to be 15 years old, and we can even see that Peter and his classmates are 16 by the time Spider-Man Homecoming comes out, as even in promotional materials with different types of commercials they did for cars, we see Peter taking his driving test. So we can pretty confidently place that Peter Parker is 16 years old because he is taking his driving test, which is something that you can't do in the US and most states unless you're 16 years of age. So when we look at it that way, there's a slight problem when we start to look at how the rest of these movies start to line up with Spider-Man's age, where when we look at Avengers Infinity War, Peter should be around 17 years old, and by the time Endgame comes out, he clearly is 18 years old, which still works in line with how old he is. If he has a summer birthday, him being 18 years old and entering his senior year of high school, this part all adds out. Now this is where we really dug in to find this problem, or not really a problem, but this little slip up by the team that wrote this movie. If you look at the scene where he is in the bar with Mysterio, Mysterio offers him a drink.
The choice is yours. Let's get a drink.
I'm not 21.
However, Peter says he's not 21 yet. However, in the Czech Republic, which is where this part of the movie takes place, the drinking age is 18, meaning Peter technically could drink. It's a little nitpicky thing, but some very focused fans have caught this and have posted about it, and we picked it up and we think it's kind of funny to look at. Another interesting scene is when we see Spider-Man talking to MJ outside of her hotel room. The collar on his shirt kind of jumps from being tucked into his backpack, and then all of a sudden his straps are visible. It's a little mess up clip to clip, but it's not that big of a deal.
Hey,
Where were you?
I got lost.
We were worried about you.
Oh,
Good thing you're back.
yeah,
So much for Paris, right?
would have been fun.
Night.
Night. You look nice.
Another interesting one is during the attack in Venice, Peter gets completely soaked with water when it pushes him against the railing. However, just seconds later, when he retaliates against the water elemental creature, his clothes are completely dry, and his hair is just maybe a little damp. Then we can look to the scene where we see Peter is sitting on Charles Bridge with Mysterio, and it shows the bridge at least one level higher than the adjacent bridge. However, in real life, both of these bridges are actually the same level as the Charles Bridge. So it's just a little thing that they kind of changed when they were doing some CGI here.
Why aren't these drones firing?
You're in the strike zone. The chance of getting hit is...
Fire all the drones now!
If you look at the shots in the scenes both prior and after this next section, where we see the students staying at the hotel, we can assume that they're staying on the main island of Venice. However, when they are leaving, a bus comes to pick them up. And the problem with this is that motor vehicles aren't allowed in the city, especially buses and coaches. They're way too big to navigate through the winding streets of this city, and it just wouldn't be feasible. So it's just a little thing that they probably could have written around, but because of time constraints, it's just easier to kind of do it the way that they did.
Look at our upgraded ride. Huh? Wow. I'm impressed, Mr. Harrington.
Peter, what's going on? I think Nick Fury just hijacked our summer vacation.
I'm Mr. Harrington to the kids. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
We also have this little moment where this is a common little sound error that they do in a ton of movies to make action sequences seem more exciting, but every time there's a gun being held, it makes this clicking noise as if they're pulling the safety off. However, the weapons that they're using actually don't have any external safeties on the guns, so they wouldn't actually make any noise when they pull the guns out. However, they make a bunch of sounds and metallic clickety noises every time they raise a gun. Another interesting thing is when Peter jumps from the train in Berlin, he lands next to a woman and she screams "knocked monkey," which was kind of this ongoing joke of the Night Monkey character. However, it's weird that she yells "knocked monkey" instead of "knocked Affe," which my German isn't the best. However, it would have made more sense for them to just say the whole name in one language rather than just saying the first half in one language and the second half in English. When we look at the stop in Austria, we can look at the gas prices in the background, and they're really, really cheap, sometimes even below 50 cents, which is far lower than the gasoline prices in Austria in the last decade, and it's technically impossible because of the taxes that are in place on gasoline. Another clip, we see Peter explaining to MJ that he gave the glasses again to Mysterio. However, this must have been a mistake from the script, from rewrites where maybe Quentin gets the glasses twice. However, Peter only gave the glasses to Quentin once. Another interesting thing is Brad Davis, who is this new character who wasn't blipped. He was a freshman when everything started, and then all of a sudden he's Peter Parker's age. However, if 5 years passed from the time that the snap initially happened to the time where everyone else came back, technically Brad Davis should have graduated already and been well out of high school. So either he maybe was held back or needed a 5th year for school, or maybe there was a delay in school, but it's kind of just a little funny note here. Also, another major plot hole is the fact that in general, Quentin Beck, if his plan was successful, he would try to be coming across as this superhero. And his whole backstory comes from the fact that he was from another dimension. But with how many people worked in Stark Industries that would at least have known who Quentin Beck was, it seems very unlikely that he would, for a long time at least, be able to make people believe he actually was from a different dimension. It's probably more likely someone would have called him out, as he was a pretty prominent member working behind the scenes at Stark. And finally, we see Nick Fury mentioning that Doctor Strange is unavailable when Peter asks about him. However, if you watch back to Thor Ragnarok, we see Doctor Strange make it very clear that anything that involves interdimensional problems is his top priority for investigation. And technically, if there's someone claiming they came from another dimension, feels like a Doctor Strange problem, something that he would obviously take up, especially with how important he made it sound in Thor Ragnarok. However, he's not available. Now, this could either be the fact that he already knew that Mysterio wasn't a threat from another dimension, or the elementals weren't real, but it would have been interesting to see maybe some of him involved just because it's right up his alley on what he works with. Something small, but nothing massive. But what did you guys think of some of these continuity errors? We think they're a lot of fun to look at. We really enjoy doing these. We've done a bunch of these in the past before on this channel. You can go check them out too. But if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe with notifications on and check out our new videos as they continue to be released. We'll see you guys all next time with a brand new video. Bye guys.
I'm about to.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Hi.
See you guys.
Know anybody?